So there's a channel that I've been watching for a good number of years, since his inception, to be honest. It's the Urban Gentry channel. His videos have always been very sleek. I like the way he presents, you know, the drama, the music, the editing, his presentation style. It's slick, it's cool, and he presents good history with every one of his episodes, which we will never do because we're not
He's filled that niche.
Yeah, exactly. But he's making a living out of it, right? We're not.
No.
He recently released an episode called 10 Watches to Avoid in 2024-25. And it was basically 10 topics or 10 points, bullet points of various discussion points relating to the watch industries. He wanted to provide some cautionary discussion on. Let's put it that way. And I thought, whoa, okay, let me plagiarize here. Let me have a bit of a reaction video to what he presented. So let's get cracking. So one of the points he made was that don't get into debt to buy a watch. Well, if you need to be told that don't get into debt to buy a watch, you probably shouldn't have any money to begin with.
I guess it's an addiction at that point.
Yeah, but then, you know, like maybe you are someone who deserves that watch if you actually got into debt to buy the watch.
Interesting.
That means you really want that watch.
Yeah.
So maybe you are, out of all people who got into debt to get the watch, you're the true deserver of that watch. We're not financial advisors. We're not to give you guys any financial advice.
That's for sure.
So we're not your mothers or your father. Just be you, man. If you want to get into debt, buy a watch, go buy a watch.
Yeah.
Don't buy watches that are expensive to service. Now, this is an interesting point. I own quite a few watches, and I probably have serviced this is going to sound terrible. I probably only serviced one of them once because I bought it secondhand and I wanted that watch to be polished up and looked over by Tudor. It was a Tudor Smiley, the original Black Bay with the burgundy dial. I bought it secondhand from Canada years ago.
Beautiful watch.
Yeah, and it cost me at the time, I think less than 2,500 Australian dollars.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like this was before COVID, you know, like, and I was like, yeah, you know, it was such a great watch. The previous owner was very, very, you know, he took nice photos, and, you know, that's when you know someone loves watches.
Yeah.
He highlighted all of the scratches and so forth. So I sent it to Tudor. I said, yeah, polish it up for me just once, and then overlook at the movement, just give it a service. There was one watch I kept on servicing, and they just couldn't get it right, and it's put me off so much on this brand, which was my Breitling Avenger, which I no longer own.
Oh, okay.
I actually sold that watch years ago now. It was a chronograph, and one of the buttons kept on getting stuck. And I will send it to Breitling to service. It'll come back, a couple of pushes, bang, it gets stuck again. And ever since then, again, I never touched the Breitling ever again. And it's really put a bad taste in my mouth. Look, you buy a Rolex, you service once every 5 years. You know, you shouldn't be servicing a watch every year or every 2 years, because that's just watch brands wanting your money.
I could almost fall into it. Like, I wouldn't call myself like OCD, but like, I think some people, like, even the tiniest little scratches, they need to get it fixed. Especially something that they bought and saved money for. But I really like perspective on that. It's like that scratch is, unless it's like a huge scratch across the dial, in which case fix it. But little nicks and stuff just adds a bit of character to it. It doesn't have to look like a new watch every single day.
It's not realistic to have something that's always new and shiny every single day if you're a user of that watch.
Yeah, unless you don't wear it and you've got it just in a box.
We don't look how we're born, are we? And we age and we deteriorate. It's what the part of the magic is. It's part of the journey.
Botox will only fix the watch of that.
Most modern watches today that you buy are so well engineered, they're going to stand the test of time. So my advice is service it if something goes wrong.
Yeah.
One of the other points he made was basically the shady watch dealers. Well, there are shady dealers in every industry, you know, but at the end of the day, dealers are dealers. It's a business. It's these people's livelihood. There's always bad apples in every bunch. And that's a given. But with that being said, ultimately, they are there to make a profit for something that there is demand for. Are they shady watch dealers? Yes. Are they decent watch dealers? Yes, also. They exist for a purpose, right? Impulse buying. He did say he impulses buy a lot, you know, and then when you impulse buy, you buy a watch, but you don't wear it, and then you just sort of sit there and going sort of regretting it. And this is simply the point to what I'm saying about micro brands as well.
Yeah.
You impulse buy the micro brand, and then you're going to regret it because you really got nothing to hold on to it.
Exactly.
Right? Whereas if I impulse buy the Yema watch, which I don't wear a lot, but then I've got the heritage on it, you know, this was, used to be made for the French Navy and blah, 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 blah. So there is some texture to the story. You know what? I say impulse buy all you want, but just don't spend too much money. Don't impulse buy any watch that's going to be advertised on Facebook or Instagram.
Oh yeah.
Daniel, I'm looking at you, right?
Yeah,
no respectable watch brand is going to be doing ads on Facebook.
I think the only good one that I didn't mind was the Humas and the Trippy watch. That I thought that was a unique one, and it's fine.
Yeah. My Tokyo 2020 Omega black and white Snoopy. I bought it not because I needed another Speedmaster. Hell no, I've got a lot of Speedmasters, but I bought it because as soon as I touched that watch, I look at it, Tokyo 2020 Olympics, memories of COVID. That's when COVID started. Right. And Tokyo 2020 never happened in 2020. It happened in 2022. So in one timepiece, looking at it, touching it, history of COVID, history of Tokyo Olympics that never happened, it defined the challenging times we all went through together as a species. You can't say you're a watch lover if you don't collect these important pieces that marks a defining moment in all of our lives. Sorry to sound very philosophical to you all guys.
I think it's so I think there's so many different types of watch collectors, and I love the sentimental watch collectors. You know, there's ones which should more just show off and all that sort of stuff, status, and then there's just pure sentimentality, tying it to something.
Well, that's the thing. Wristwatches are a redundant thing these days. Right? I mean, they're one of the points that the Urban Gentry made on the top 10 watches not to buy, avoid, is a smartwatch. There's no watch brand or watch model have they been sold more than an Apple Watch.
And more useful.
Right, exactly. So they're more useful, so people don't need to wear a watch. I don't wear this because this keeps time, because I know what the time is from all the things that's around me.
The amount of times, because I change out my watches from day to day, the amount of times I haven't changed the time, I finally go to look at it halfway through the day and I'm like, what is going on with the time? I haven't adjusted it.
So segue off that, can you imagine then getting a more complicated watch with date and days and stuff like that? You're never going to adjust it, because if you're not even adjusting time only, forget about adjusting the day. Exactly. So the usage case for this is more a trinket, a keepsake. So Will, I'm looking at you again. Stop impulse buying. You haven't defined the whys for those watches.